All right. What do we have our
we have Rod. Rod's on deck.
All right, let's bring him in. Rod from this is Rod from Colorado.
Colorado.
Hey guys,
what's going on, man? How are you?
Pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Good.
I was already talking about Colorado. The Denver Post I subscribed to, and I was reading about the bill where they're want to give tenants the first refusal to renew on a lease, whether the landlord wants to renew or not. And I just said, man, people are going to be selling their rental properties like crazy. But tell us what's going on in your market.
Yeah, I guess to piggyback on that, a lot is happening with the rentals, with laws coming down the pipe. They have something going on right now with short-term rentals. This week, there's a bill that they're trying to put forth where they're going to start taxing the short-term rentals at the hotel rate. So I don't know if that bill's going to pass or not, but that's what's on the table right now.
So Rod, that means that these Airbnb owners are going to have to collect that tax, and now they're going to have the burden of reporting it, filling out all the paperwork and all that stuff, which, let me tell you something, is not fun.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that bill. It's going to be interesting.
You think Airbnb will drop their rates for the hosts so that they won't take as much, so that they can afford to pay the tax, the 8% or 12% or however much hotel tax is?
I don't think Airbnb will. I mean, they're in the business to make money, right? I don't think they will.
So what's happening in the sales side?
Yeah, so on the sales side, so I'll talk a little bit about the commercial side, and then I'll talk about residential side. So on the commercial side, as far as apartments go, we have about 21,000 units here in Colorado Springs. Now I know that number probably doesn't mean a lot, right? But to put that into perspective, what that is 12 years of inventory. So if they never built another unit, it will take 12 years to eat up that inventory.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So these are builders that are coming from all over. They're builders from Texas, California, Washington. They're all over. So maybe these builders know something that's going to happen here, and we're going to have an influx of people. But
they're going to squash out Airbnb short term. They're going to squash out the short term rentals. They're going to squash out the long-term rentals because they're going to make it so burdensome for landlords, and they're going to feed these people that won't have anywhere to go. They won't have the ability to live in a single-family house, so they're going to have to live in an apartment. That's what they're banking on.
Absolutely. And so historically here too, as far as rental rates go, once we hit that 7% of vacancy rate, once we hit that, then rental rates usually come down, and we are above that 7% right now.
Well, do you think the apartment industry is lobbying against the short-term and long-term rentals?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, you know what? Maybe. And maybe that's why some of these laws are coming down. Somebody's lobbying, right?
Yeah.
Somebody behind the scenes is. Yeah. So, but yeah, on the residential side, this is also interesting too. So for January, we had 668 closings. The last time that we had under 700 closing was in January of 2015. So, we have 2.5 months of inventory. Things just really aren't moving.
Wow. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is going to happen with interest rates? I've asked our other guests. Do you think we're going to see mortgage rates continue an upward trend?
I think we will. And I've said this before to people. I actually have a bet with a mortgage broker here. He thinks they're going to come down, and he's been, so we bet on that. I think they're going to stay flat or they're going to go up. So we'll see. But I think they're going to go up.
How much was the bet?
It was lunch. Yeah.
A lot? Come on, man. Give me some info. That was $1,000 or what?
No, it was just lunch. It was just lunch.
Lunch. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Lunch.
yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We had when was that? Was that the end of 22? It was in the fall of 22 or winter coming into Elisa. Is it?
Oh,
Is that what was that her name?
which one? Alyssa?
Alyssa.
Alyssa Glutz?
I mean, now that you completely called her out.
I was gonna
Yes.
Well, it's there.
Yeah, let's. I'm trying to maybe I just should have said like Mary or something. You know what I mean? I should have said
Well, it's
something.
all there. I mean, it's video. They can
It
go
is video.
they can go back
Right,
and
if you
check it
guys-
out themselves.
Right. So I remember. So Rod, it was crazy, man. We were in this podcast, and I said, "Well, we were at I don't know, we were in the fives, maybe."
It could
Maybe heading to 6% or
Yeah.
whatever. And I said, we're going to hit 8% next year, which we did.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, no, it's never going to happen. She said, we will be at 4%
Yeah.
by spring. Like, what? I mean, look, she's really nice. And,
She is nice.
she's a great person. But I mean, I think just some people, they don't. And this is the aggravating part is people aren't paying attention to everything that goes on. It's like the only reason we had 4% was because the government was buying mortgage-backed securities. That's it.
Yep, exactly.
Nobody was standing in line to lend money to somebody for 30 years for 2.75%.
Mm-hmm.
The government was buying these mortgage-backed securities. So, yeah. What do you think is going to happen to our spring? You think you're going to see inventory rise, or do you think the sellers are going to continue to just bunker down and hold on to what they have?
I think we'll see inventory rise. So, in December, October. So in October, we had about 2,500 homes on the market. That dropped down to 1,700 in January. I think that those people that pull their homes off the market in October, November, I think they're going to put them back on in the springtime. So I think we're going to see more inventory in the springtime.
Yeah, I want to pull up. Do we have any questions for Rod here?
Not specifically. Lots of people are saying hello to you, Rod. I think that you may be popular and they recognize you and they want to say hi. But we do actually have. I'm going to ask you this question because we've kind of been all across the board tonight with the questions. What is an event that could cause it all to crash, break? What do you see that you think could possibly be the tipping point?
What do I think could cause it? Maybe some type of war, something strange like that. Yeah, something out of the ordinary. I don't know. That's a great question.
I think the big thing, what scares me is that higher interest rates, the implication of higher interest rates are really going to start impacting our small businesses, the big businesses too, because a lot of these businesses need the credit lines to order inventory. So what's happening is credit tightening is taking place. So a lot of these business owners, their credit lines are shrinking because of the risk. And so they're not able to buy the inventory that equal the sales or the profits that will afford them to keep a limited staff that they're working with now. They'll have to even look at picking and choosing who they're going to keep on staff or on salary. And, what we experienced through the pandemic was there was such a hiring boom that employers didn't really care that they were, spending money recruiting these employees or paying them more than what they were making. So now what we're seeing is that this is starting to retract and people are getting let go at all different, industries, in all different industries, in all different markets. So what concerns me that's really kept a lot of this propped up has been the blue collar side of things too, because the construction boom, there were so many, heating and air contractors, electricians, plumbers making really good money. These are people that own houses and that are buying, contributing to the supply houses and, buying consumer goods. We're seeing the squeeze start to affect them to where the builders are pulling back. A lot of these apartment multifamily buildings are getting completed or they're just stalling the progress altogether. So I think what's going to happen is that we're going to see a big pullback in our small businesses, and they're going to start, and that's the number one supplier or the of jobs. The largest employer of our jobs are the small businesses in America, and they are getting absolutely crippled right now. And if you guys are small business owners, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. And I think there's some of the higher paying jobs, by the way. We're talking about employers that put their check in the drawer that can't afford to take their own paycheck to pay their employees. And I think that's coming down the pike fast and furious if we don't see rate drops for these, them to be able to get loans and to kind of loosen up things for them operating businesses. That's what I think. Unfortunately.
We have another question here. My question is, are these people going to continue to afford paying their mortgage over time if rates don't drop?
Rod, you want to take that?
So you mean if rates don't drop, people that currently have a home, is that what she's asking, or people that are trying to get a mortgage?
Yeah, I think what she's meaning here, and Mina, please, you can comment if you want to add some other statement to this question. What she is saying is that, how are people going to be able to afford paying their mortgage if they're purchasing right now? How are they going to be able to afford it? Given all the certain circumstances, people lose their job if the rates don't drop.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I think it's going to be tough, right? So, right now we're seeing homes come back on the market, homes that were purchased in 21 through 23 coming back on the market. Owning a home is expensive, right? And you don't realize that until after you purchase. And you're like, oh, I got to fix this, or oh, I got to fix that, or gas prices go up, and now you're juggling all these different things. And I think that's part of the reason why we're seeing homes come back on the market. But also here in the Colorado Springs, we have a lot of military that, they're leaving in and out also too. But yeah, I think it's going to be tough for a lot of people to afford some of these homes, and that's why they're coming back on.
And I think, I'll add to that, and I agree with you 100%. We're starting to see, I said it earlier in the podcast, where people bought a year ago, bought 2 years ago, they want to move. I had a feeling that was going to happen because a lot of these first-time buyers, they have no idea what it's like to own a home. And, though they may have got, received gift money from mom and dad to buy it. I mean, mom and dad don't want to put new roofs on and new heating and air systems and things like that. They want, their kids to be able to take care of the place. But we're starting to see where that's just, it's crippling them financially. But I think what she also may be talking about is how many of these buyers were misled into thinking that they could refinance in 2 years or a year and a half or whatever, when date the rate, to marry the house, but date the rate, that phrase that I freaking can't stand, because they don't fully explain to these buyers that you're probably not going to be able to refinance. I mean, let's get that out of the way, because it may not make, if you're refinancing, it's probably because you're in bad shape. And now you want to absorb your credit cards in the debt too, in your mortgage payment. Because, what happens here is if you bought at the absolute top of the market in this cycle, you bought at, now you bought a home at 7 3/4 or 8% because you couldn't wait, or even 7%. Now, in order to refinance, your house has to appraise. It has to, you have to have money to come out of pocket for, depending on where you live, for recordation fees. At the government level, they're there having their hand out. Oh, you're refinancing. We want to get paid again, depending on what state you're in. Maryland, they're as greedy as it gets with recordation fees. I don't know. Maybe Colorado's up there too, but I mean, they got their hand out, man. They want thousands of dollars. It costs on average $5,000 to $7,000, depending on your loan, but that's an average to refinance. Think about that. So what are you dropping your payment, and how long are you going to even be in there if you can refinance to absorb the $7,000 or more that it costs to refinance? You may move in 5 years. If you live there 3 years, you're planning on being there 7. You may have another 4 years. You're throwing money away. Oh, there's an article. Oh, Joe, pull it up. Pull it up. Oh man, how could I forget? Staring me in the face here. I got papers I keep shuffling through. I can't stand papers. Pull up the article that was that said, about it wouldn't be a good year to. Last year wasn't a good year to do rate buy downs. Let's talk about that for a minute. All right, here you go. This is a good one for you all. Yahoo. Buying down mortgage rates wasn't worth it in 2023, experts say. These loan officers made a lot of money on it. They thought it was a great idea. And it won't be worth it in 2024. Rate buy downs jump in popularity last year amid high rates and elevated home prices. Wonder why it was in popularity, high in popularity. You guys, what the industry doesn't even tell you, these loan officers, is that when they say, well, you buy down a point, you can buy that. It's not a point. Got a fly flying there. Hatching flies already. It's freaking February. Get ready to do like a suicide bombing right into my forehead or something. When you think about it for a minute, right? These lenders are giving.
It's reckless if it's part of the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that just lights a fire under me when I hear that term. And it just, because it's so risky. If somebody at our peak, right, at 565 in June of 22 was told that, date the rate, marry the house, and they tried to refinance today, they have no equity to refinance, and they wouldn't be able to do it.
Let's pull that back up again, Joe, and scroll down because I think there was some interesting information on here. Here you go. According to Freddie Mac, so this isn't just anybody. This is Freddie Mac, government-sponsored enterprise. Freddie Mac. According to Freddie Mac, more than half of U.S. borrowers paid discount points last year, a substantial jump from recent years as they contended with double whammy of elevated home prices and mortgage rates of 7%. Also known as rate buy downs, discount points are mortgage interest you pay up front at closing to get a small percentage knocked off your rate. So here we go. What's this say? Despite home buyers in 2023 buying more points, Freddie Mac found that the interest rate differential was negligible. It means it wasn't worth it. Through November, the average rate for purchase borrowers paying discount points was 6.61 versus 6.69 for those who didn't pay points. That's only 8 basis point difference. The result seems to suggest that paying discount points, these lenders are going to be sending me, I'm going to get some love letters myself in my inbox tomorrow. The result seems to suggest that paying discount points may not be worth it. From the consumer's point of view, Freddie Mac researchers wrote. Isn't it amazing how all this stuff comes out? Now they want to look like they're, knights in shining armor coming to the rescue. Hey guys, may not be worth it. Buying down your points. Dating the rate may not be such a good idea either. There was a question.
There's a question for Rod. How does insurance affect Colorado Springs? Every day on Nextdoor, I see homeowners being canceled. So what's going on?
Yeah, well, we get a lot of hail here in Colorado Springs. You can count on hail, at least one storm in the summertime coming through, and insurance companies don't want to cover that. I had that happen to me. I had a rental property up in Denver, and I had a personal property down in Colorado Springs, and they didn't want to do both claims. They only gave me one claim, and they dropped me essentially. So, it is this stuff. I don't think we're kind of. I was talking to a insurance broker, and he said we're in between Texas and California. I think he said, no, Texas and Florida. So we're not quite on the naughty list. we're just in the middle.
Yeah, insurance. Geez, what a racket. I mean, you look at the endorsements. I had an insurance guy on. Remember that? We had an insurance broker that was on, and he was telling me all these things. You had to like analyze your whatever, your policy, because chances are you're not covered when you need it. And then a friend of mine just sold his insurance brokerage, but he said something like that insurance covers 100% of what didn't happen. I mean, it's like, oh, well, that happened. Well, that's not covered. Or, oh, yeah, well, you didn't have, the water actually hit the ground before it came in. So the groundwater, because it flooded out your brand new basement, yeah, we don't cover that. It has to, come from a pipe or whatever. So a lot of people don't even know what they're getting, but insurance is getting wiped out. I mean, down in Phil's, Florida, they have like a socialistic insurance company because like 13 major insurance companies pulled out of Florida. They just said they just don't even want anything to do with the state, which is crazy. Yeah. Let's pull up some stats here on Maryland and surrounding areas. I do want to cover our local market here because I want to talk about what is not being talked about. Figure that. Here we go. All right. We could start with this one. Let's start with the other one. January 2024. See, so what Phil and I were talking about, backward-looking data, I was completely shocked. Usually I don't see the month before until about the 16th of the month. But I wanted to kind of dive into things and show you guys what's happening in the Mid-Atlantic region, which includes New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia. So all in the bright MLS DC and the bright MLS footprint. So a couple things I want to point out here, which are really some key indicators, is that new listings, we are up 46%, which is huge number. So when we're talking about what we see now, guys, we are typically a very insulated market here in Maryland. We have a lot of government employees, a lot of government jobs, a lot of insurance jobs here, big employer in Maryland. Our military, we have, a couple big bases here. We have NSA, we have, it just goes, the list goes on and on. And then we're right outside of DC, where, probably one of the largest median income earners where they live, and government contractors where, you could pay $1,000 to have a toilet installed instead of $250, when you're getting into government contracts and things like that. People make a lot of money. But anyway, I'm sure that is a favorite amongst some of the viewers. But when we look at this, January market update, the big thing is, boom, we got inventory over December. Inventory numbers are up. And typically speaking, we're not looking at that kind of inventory hike. Don't go up so far yet, Joe. I'm not done with this. We're not there. It's January 23. Obviously, we're still low, but we're not used to seeing inventory hikes in January, especially when people are still cleaning up from the holiday season. New pendings were up 20.5%, but year over year, we're down on pending. And then sales were up in sales slightly over January of 23, but you can see 21% down in December. And December was terrible in sales because it's holiday season and people don't want people coming through, or they have presents everywhere and they're having family come in from the holidays and stuff like that. And this is why I'm bringing this out, because when we're looking at January 2023 being a median sold price of $370, I would say this is attributed to new home sales, because why in the world, would people be buying houses in January and December? They're buying this new home construction, which is going up year over year. When I pull up my MLS and I'm looking at price declines or price increases, just about the only thing I'm seeing, if you can imagine who in the world would raise their price of the house, they're dropping prices. That if the house isn't selling in 2 or 3 days or 5 days, they're dropping prices, not increasing prices. However, builders are increasing their prices. So when we're looking at year-over-year price increases, a lot of this is attributed to new home construction. And a lot of what they're doing is they're giving, seller contributions through their mortgage company. And a lot of this isn't even showing up, which I think we're going to hear more and more of with Fannie Mae probably in months and years to come, my personal opinion. But let's look at this closed sales chart here, because I think this is critical to look at here. You can see January of 2022 and January of 2024. So if you see that January far left, and then you look at the sales in January of 2024, it's easy to see we were in a market. I mean, this whole January, February, March 2022, until we came roaring into where, we got into, where we started seeing rate hikes go up. We saw the bottom fall out of the housing market. So despite the fact that we have some of the largest income earners here in the DMV, they're still impacted significantly by rate hikes and just overall buyers saying no. But let's go ahead to the other sheet there, Joe. And what I want to pull out here, because a lot of this data is just skewed because we're not comparing house to house. We're comparing a lot of the new construction is majorly altering the numbers that we're seeing. Yes, you still have markets where we're getting multiple offers 2 instead of 20. Yes, you're getting, open houses where we're getting 3 and 5 come through, not 50 and 100 at a time. But we still in certain markets are seeing, some pressure on, prices and buyers to where in some cases they have to go over asking price. But I want to look at this financing sold, dealing with January and January. Look at the cash. Look at the amount of cash purchases, 2,946, and conventional 6,263. So the bulk of the buyers here are ones that have cash and great credit. So we're seeing, a big reduction in everyone else. And even though our VA, our military buyers, they can buy with 0% down, they're representing a very, very low in an area of a lot of military in our region are representing a very low number of the actual buyers in the marketplace. So right now we're hovering somewhere around, 3.5 months of supply. Again, that depends on market to market. And then when we're looking at January stats here, you have your 1 to 10 days. And let me tell you how this number is skewed. When a lot of the sales in the last year are, like I said, new homes. So a lot of these homes are put on the market and off the market in the same hour. So the agent wants to get credit for the sale. They want the comp. So the agent will put it on the MLS and market sold. So they'll list it and sell it in the same day, and usually within the same 10 minutes or 15 minutes within the hour. So what we're seeing, that skews the numbers. Or we're seeing where it's just a hot property, it was priced right, or it's just an outlier where we're getting multiple contracts within a couple days. Once it goes beyond that, the next grouping of the bulk of sales in the Mid-Atlantic region are in that 31 to 60 day range, right? So there's a big discrepancy between the ones that are being sold right away with multiple offers or listed and sold in the same day by a new home construction or sale, that we're moving to the 31 to 60 day range. So, we are still seeing, a large percent in some markets up to 40-50% of the homes being reduced at least once. And then overall in the markets, it's easy to say that a third or 30% of the houses that are active in broader markets are seeing price reductions once they get beyond 14 or 21 days.
Okay, we do have a question here, Todd, that I would like to ask you. Would you be interested in interviewing an average person like myself that is indecisive on whether or not to buy a home in today's real estate market? I'm not a subject matter expert, just one of your dedicated viewers.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you, Corey. I mean, certainly, we will be scheduling, very soon, Tuesday night, where we can bring in callers, and we'd love to have you send me an email so we can specifically send you an invite and get you on the show.
Yeah, definitely. And then, Rod, I would like to ask you here, what is your view on Amazon getting into the housing market?
Oh, I'm not a fan of Amazon getting to the housing market, just like, any of those other, corporate buyers. I know that they're doing like the fractional, investing, but I don't like it. I think that it's going to take inventory from, you know, um, everyday buyers, right? I think that's what the housing's about, is for your everyday buyer, and corporations should kind of stay out of it. I know they really got into it after the, GFC. That's when they really saw the value in, taking up homes and things like that. But I think, yeah, I'm going to stop buying from Amazon because of that.
Good luck with that. First thing you have to do is eliminate your Prime account, okay? Which is going to eliminate what you watch on TV, which is going to really put a crimp in your style. I mean, it is crazy. But, look, I don't know what part of Bezos has invested, how much he's invested or how much they're using his name. But we're talking about Arrived Homes as the fractional buyer. When they first hit the market, I think it was in 2021, and maybe it was in September. I don't know if my memory is right on that, but basically they crashed their website because so many people were interested. I think you can invest up to $100. You can pick a marketplace and a fractional, buy a fractional ownership of this property. But I'm not a financial advisor, but I can tell you one thing, you have to really be, you have to use caution. You have to know these companies are making money. A lot of these fractional ownership platforms, they mark up the price. They buy the house for $400, they sell it for $450. They take an instant $50,000 cash incentive. I mean, some of the platforms, you've got to look at what they do and how they do it. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but the other thing with that is they're charging management fees. They set up a management company. They're making money. Okay, so they're trying to figure out a way to entice people to buy. You can't own one to live in it. So, but you can buy $100 share in one and be one of 2,000 people, or 5,000 people that own a part of this house. Amazon was going to, I remember the call with my agents. This was before COVID. Maybe it was in, the Anywhere, before they were Anywhere, Realty Group.
Oh,
They sold to Anywhere. They were involved in a lawsuit, but they partnered with Amazon. I think it was maybe it was in 2018 or 2019. Amazon actually made a public announcement that they had partnered with this real estate conglomerate we all heard of. They Coldwell Banker, Better Homes and Gardens, list goes on.
mm-hmm.
But where the agents were calling me saying, what is going on? Like, are we done? Are we completely cooked now? Because Amazon, is incentivizing. What they were doing, I think, was they were giving you gifts to use this real estate company. They were giving you home security system, ring systems, things like that. It is an incentive. If you bought a house through this platform backed by Amazon, you got all these free things. It didn't go anywhere. I mean, people, look, they can't be enticed to use somebody. I mean, it can't cook the books for a home security system. I mean, we're talking about something that's way bigger than that, right? So, I always take everything with a grain of salt. When I hear about Zillow getting their license in all 50 states and DC, I sit there and I go, okay, well, a lot of people don't like Zillow. So they're going to, They're going to all of a sudden start using Zillow to buy the house. I mean, Zillow may tell them it's worth what it's not worth. I mean, who knows, right? I mean, it's, they can't even, would they lose $700 million or something like that on their Zillow offers platform? So, you always have to look at what's going on when we hear headline news. A lot of it is just for the publicity, and they get it pumped up. So they get, they get what they get. But then when we get through the smoke and mirrors, we realize that nothing's really changed.
Mm-hmm. We did have a little super chat here that I wanted to read here. Joe, you got a shout out. Shout out to Joe behind the camera. Todd, you have a great team. Seattle is 138% cost buy to rent on average as of January 24th. Appreciate all of you all.
Yeah, so
thank you,
so much, Victor. It was nice to Victor is one of our agents also, and he met us. We went to, matter of fact, Victor, I just saw that short of yours where I was shoving a burger into my mouth, man. You got me at the, you got me. So anyway, we went to this great burger joint, man. It was delicious. They roll the sidewalks up in Seattle. It seems like at 9:00. I mean, you can't get a full menu anywhere. I mean, it's like a zombie apocalypse on the street. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Sad actually, really is. A lot of homelessness. But Victor met us for dinner. It was very nice. So we were glad that we made that happen while we were out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks,
yes. Rod, anything
you got Joe
else
on video
you'd
too,
like
by the
to?
way.
Oh yeah, Joe on video.
If anybody wants to go to Victor Ashley's real estate channel and look at the shorts, you can see Joe and I scarfing down a burger.
Are we going to ask Rod his predictions for the spring market?
Yeah, man, let's do it. What's your predictions, Rod?
I think we're going to see inventory increase, and I think that we're not going to have a whole lot of buyers. There are people that want to buy. I get calls all the time from people, hey, I'm looking to buy a house, but they can't afford it because you look at the rates combined with the price, it just doesn't work out. So that's what I think is going to happen. More inventory, and we're just not going to have as many closed sales.
Well, we appreciate you very much, Rod.
Yeah.
If you guys are looking in Colorado, look up Rod. He is in Colorado Springs. You're about an hour outside of, where are you?
Hour south of Denver, 45 minutes north of Pueblo.
Yeah. So if you guys are looking in that area, look Rod up. You can find him on saxrealty.com. Guys, we appreciate you. If you need agents out there, we have an agent network that's all over the country. We'd love to get you pointed in the right direction. We also have lenders, despite the fact that I pick on them. They are, unless you have cash, they're necessary. And we try to, point you in a direction where you're going to get at least, straight information based on where the market is and what's happening in that marketplace. And, and I tell the agents, like I said, we had our sales meeting today,
this morning,
freaking days ago.
I know.
My gosh, I've been up since 4:00 this morning.
Yes.
And for any of you that know, it's like after 10:00 on the East Coast. But what we said in our sales meeting today was that you really have to establish your different, buyer pools and seller pools, because despite what's happening in the market, guys, there are some of you that are going to buy regardless of where the rates are, regardless of where the prices are. You might not have the luxury to wait it out or pick and choose. And sometimes it's a lifestyle. I'm not telling people don't buy houses. You have to make the decision. All we're trying to do is give you the information, give you the indicators, point you in the right direction, and then you have to make a decision for yourself. I don't make the decision. Rod doesn't. Jennifer doesn't make the decision. Phil doesn't make the decision. You guys have to decide for yourself based on what you hear, the information that you're gathering, and your comfort level of debt and your risk of having debt. Right. So I think, collectively, the best thing you can do is strategize that, have conversations with multiple people in the industry. And you can always reach out to me. You can book a time to speak to me directly if you'd like to do that, to have a consultation one-on-one. Be glad to get that set up for you. You can also do that. Schedule a call right on SachsRealty.com. We love you guys. We appreciate you spending your Tuesday night with us. And thank you, Rod. Any final words?
Happy 24. Hopefully it's a great year as far as, doing good positive business, not doing any shady business, just doing positive things. So
amen to that. And look, we're gonna hit it head on, whatever it is, and we're gonna come out way better than we were coming into 2024. So you guys have a good night. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Guys.